The president of Malawi has impressed a lot of Africans in his speech when he tried to talk about reality and fantasy. I say this because you recall a few weeks ago we did this video which actually went viral anyway, and I'm so grateful to everyone that shared the video. But what I said on that video, I said that our leaders must not project their goals to 2063 because they won't be there around to take responsibility for those projections that they are making, but rather they must make short-term goals, whether it is 2025, 2028, 2030, 2032. These are foreseeable goals where they can take responsibility, where you can say, you promised us this, but you have not attained it. 2063, who knows? Will you be there? Will the journalists of that day be able to dig deeper on that vision, say, you promised people back then that this is what you wanted to achieve? Where is it? And who would they be trying to take accountability from? Let us watch this speech by Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. Pardon him for his accent, but I want us to catch a glimpse of that, and then I'll bring my comment later.
In less than 30 years, we will come to the halfway point of this century. And in less than 80 years, the 21st century will end. By that time, none of us will be president, and none of us will be alive. So when we stand at this podium and speak of the future, we speak of a future that does not belong to us. We speak of a future with sustainable development. We speak of a better world, not for us, but for our grandchildren and their children. And the decisions we make today, the actions we take each day, are what determine what kind of future we are creating for them. It is therefore not good enough to say that we must build trust in the world when we continue making decisions that undermine trust. It is not good enough to say that we want to reignite global solidarity when we continue to pick and choose whom we show solidarity with. It is not enough to say we want to move towards peace when our actions in other nations promote war and create the conditions for conflict. It is not good enough to say we want prosperity for all when our rules for trade and our financial systems are a recipe for deepening the poverty of other nations. Without changing our decisions, our positions, and our actions, the future we speak of today and the sustainable development we dream of achieving by 2030 will remain a reality on paper.
In this speech, Lazarus Chakwera is trying to say that the unaccountability that is found in his own peers, which are the African presidents, of which him himself is also accused of nepotism. The second thing that Lazarus Chakwera pointed out is the fact that America, as much as they are a global superpower, they preach peace, they preach resolving of conflict, but they are the ones that are actually weaponizing Ukraine. They are the ones that weaponized the Mujahideen during the 1989 when Russia was fighting with the Mujahideen, and they are known for interfering with other people's politics. But they are the ones that are saying, let's preach peace. They are preaching peace in America, but there is no peace when it comes for them interacting with other nations. And then the second thing is that the debts that are given on the African continent are so steep in such a way that it is impoverishing Africa. When it comes to the raw materials that are in Africa, on the world market, they are taken on a cheap price, but when they come back to Africa, being sold back to the Africans, they are being sold at a much exorbitant price. These are some of the things that Lazarus Chakwera pointed out, which I really think that as African leaders, it's high time they should look at how they deal with these big powers. Whether BRICS is going to solve that, I don't know. Whether the African Continental Free Trade Area is going to solve that, I don't know. But I believe it's time for Africans and African leaders to wake up and smell the coffee and not rely on the World Bank or any other monetary institutions that robs them or that gives them steep interest which they are not able to pay, thereby impoverishing them and hamstringing them into loans that they are not able to pay. So I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of Lazarus Chakwera's speech, and what do you make of our African leaders being bundled up in United Nations and making speeches? Are they making any progress, or they're just good at piling up our emotions, and at the end of the day, nothing happens? I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next video.